Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth on the traits of a narcissist. And that is really understanding what it means to have a lack of empathy, a deficit in the ability to show deep emotions, care, and concern for others. And this is a nebulous topic, meaning it's somewhat vague, it's unclear, but yet it's very powerful and it's no laughing matter. A narcissist or a psychopath has a lack of empathy. That is part of their personality disorder as defined by the DSM-5R, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, which is used by mental health professionals to diagnose and treat those who present with mental illnesses, including the cluster B, the personality disorders, which we see, which are typified by the narcissist, the covert narcissist, and the psychopath. And now it's a spectrum, which means there is a range, but and each individual is unique, just like every lung cancer might be unique. The diagnosis and treatment and expression of that personality disorder will reflect and vary according to the person, the dynamic, the sex, their culture, etc. But for one, number one is the self-absorption, the inflated sense of self or self-importance, and then coupled with a lack of empathy. And this oftentimes creates an intense need for the individual to control and furthermore manipulate others. And oftentimes this creates an invalidation of that person's reality, which we know as a negative validation, which means validating you in a negative way, oftentimes which has nothing to do with reality, the real person, the real behavior of them, their true self. It's a negative validation of them. So it's creating a negative reflection which does not exist. So it's meant to satisfy the narcissist's needs. And their needs take precedence over all else in the relationship. Whether it's a mother-daughter, a father-daughter, a father-son, a spouse-to-spouse, a sibling, it creates a competitiveness, an us and them sort of dynamic where the narcissist is adversarial and combative and on a real distinct other side to you than you. So you can oftentimes feel this, sense this, but oftentimes it is misunderstood or fed into because the narcissist will present as an authority, a tremendous amount of charm, or a caregiver, or the one in power, or the one in the know. There is going to be something about them which presents them, or they are projecting or using as a public persona or taking advantage of their relationship as superior to, better than, or really the only one who has a valid need. So in other words, it can be very clear. They need to present as more important than you, and oftentimes will negatively validate you, causing you to feel unimportant, as if your needs don't exist or are furthermore wrong, that you are in the wrong for needing this, you are in the wrong for noticing this. So people then get used to and accustomed to ignoring or invalidating then their own needs. In other words, the narcissist or psychopath trains you to be self-sabotaging in nature. They train you to have the anxiety. They mirror back this negative experience. So, whether it's age inappropriate requests or demands, asking children to do work around the house, before they can even play, expecting a spouse to sacrifice their professional career for them, so that you can't pursue your own professional endeavors because it would take away from your relationship, or that you need to overproduce in order to satisfy them in the relationship. In other words, for them to feel the validation, you need to become this high achiever, you need to make a certain amount of money, and then they're satisfied. So there's all these conditions that are built into the relationship. And this creates a disconnect from another person's own sense of self, if this makes any sense. And I know it does, because we have a lot of viewer comments who resonate with this. So even though it sounds very strange, I don't know what I want, I don't know who I am, I don't, all these sort of statements, which would be like, well, what do you mean you don't know who you are? It's because this has been fostered and reinforced, negatively reinforced in your experience. So people then are trained by these people that you are wrong, that you should be ashamed of yourself. This and this is flawed about you, whether it's your hair, your skin, your attitude, your opinion, your needs. That these needs are then, flawed, and then so you end up truncating them or cutting them off, basically disconnecting from the root. So part of the healing journey that we discuss here on the channel is reconnecting to that root within yourself, which is a connection back to yourself as distinct and separate from this person. Getting rid of and disengaging from this individual's lack of emotional engagement. Because the narcissist, because of their lack of empathy, they are not able to really deeply care and have emotional connections with others. If they do, it's very superficial, for show only. It's like the show towels in the bathroom. It's a show relationship. It's what they wear on their cuff. It's just like, we're in a relationship. I am this, but you might really attend to the fact that you don't really feel a connection to them. You don't feel like they're all there, and you have to own your perspective. As people grow and mature, they realize that you need to have courage to admit this and accept this within yourself, that this person, this is what you have experienced, and it's very difficult to own this reality independently on your own. It's very difficult. It's difficult to have the courage. It's difficult to validate that yourself, because it's terrorizing. It's, you feel that you're in this world alone, or you were born into this world alone, and that this person never even knew you, yet you had a roof over your head, food on your table, yet you didn't have the psychological connection. There's more to being in a relationship than food and clothes and having shelter. There's communication, there's love, there's discussion, there's sounding boards of each other, there's discussion of things in life and developing of and going places, and all these different things that involve with life. It's Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to have acknowledgement and recognition and have those needs satisfied. There's nothing wrong with that. But you will notice that the narcissist will take the opportunity to cause this fear and this guilt for having an awareness. So once you start to wake up, they're going to, try to create a feeling as if, they're going to either give you the look or, they negate the statement or make you do something more to satisfy their needs. Clean the house, do this, feel this. They're going to try to truncate you in that awareness, if that makes sense. And that is because of the lack of empathy. And furthermore, it makes it difficult to accept it and work through it, because you almost have to go through a grieving process where you accept it. You might try to battle with it and say, well, this can't be so. How could this happen to me? Why? All the questions of the why me start to then arise. And, and how could this be within my family? How can this be, especially when they seem so apparently positive? They might have a great job, or they might have friends outside of the family relationship. Again, these are on the outside, but the real deal. You know how you've been treated by this person, and there's no denying it. And so really you have to come and emerge from the denial, which oftentimes is a very tough pill to swallow. It is very difficult to say, oh my gosh, my mother was a psychopath. My father was a narcissist. My sibling is a narcissist. My sibling is a psychopath. My wife is a psychopath. My spouse is a narcissist. It's very difficult to accept that because it means courage, and it means that you now have to move your life in a new direction, and you have to make a personal change. So it's kind of like you need to listen to yourself rather than listening to this person, which if you have over-identified with a narcissist, you're very accustomed to listening to this person, acknowledging and validating their needs, and oftentimes living to satisfy them. So oftentimes people then say, I don't know what I need because I'm so used to living to satisfy their needs. In other words, it's kind of like the situation where parents might have a child and say, you are going to be a doctor. And then, that child has to go and basically live a life to satisfy them. It's very much along that same line or energetic experience or dynamic. And oftentimes, as we've stated, it's difficult to accept this because of the other attractive qualities that the narcissist might have. They might be good looking. They might be, hiding behind a big salary. They might be hiding behind a lot of awards. They might be hiding behind a lot of other, superficial, charming relationships that they have, with people in their neighborhood or their church or something. But the real deal. You know how you've been treated. You know the negative validation. You know the lack of empathy. And really kind of the backstage behind the relationship. So you do need to acknowledge, you do need to accept, and you do need to validate and embrace yourself, and furthermore have the gratitude that you have come to this awareness. And so really one of the most powerful emotions that I can share with you is really having gratitude for knowing what is. And furthermore, embracing gratitude for all the opportunity that you now have moving forward and looking forward in your life. So think of it almost as if you're at a vista, you're at a new foundation, you have a new outlook, you have a new perspective, and you can begin to ask yourself the open-ended questions. If I didn't have this hurtful relationship in my life, I would really love to become. And then begin to fill in the blanks with defining yourself moving forward. Defining who you want to be. If I was not hindered and clamped and ensnared by this person, I would really give myself permission to go, to be, to become. Ask yourself these open-ended questions and write down a list of 20 things that you could positively feel outside of that. And namely, the most powerful is gratitude, and to find really where you fit in the spectrum of life, and if you're having trouble feeling gratitude or energy, just go ahead and search through some of the documentaries that are wonderfully portrayed in YouTube. Oftentimes, we are in the information age. We have so much information at our fingertips right now. Just go ahead and research a documentary of the fabric and textile factories that are in Bangladesh or that are in China. Look at the world's largest factory in China. Look at some of the documentaries where people are oppressed and living so oppressed under very narcissistic and psychopathic regimes in their life. And they're able to and just see what some of the thing is going on and see if it doesn't tug at your heartstrings, and see if you can have gratitude for where you are personally at your life and the freedoms that you have that you weren't even aware of, but that you can really begin to embrace and take with gratitude and really full awareness and acceptance of where you are, and begin to feel that within yourself and not within the narcissist. In fact, do not share this passion and this gratitude with your narcissist, because they are going to negate it. They are going to minimize. They are going to diminish. They are not going to validate that within you because of a lack of empathy. A narcissist does not have the ability to deeply care and share those same emotional qualities and experiences with you in this life. It is peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe with me for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support.